1, 2, 3.
They're bringing up stuff that's 25 or 30 years old, and I have no idea. They haven't fingerprinted me or mugshotted me yet, but I'm sure that's coming.
I feel bad for people that have huge secrets like I had. Don't let it consume you. Tell the secret. Tell your secret. I think that my father started that fire purposely to kill me, so that I would quit telling everybody that my mother was sleeping in the backyard.
How could she get buried in your backyard?
I have no idea.
How could she get buried in your backyard when you're living there?
No idea. I wasn't living there at the time.
What do you mean? You were too.
No, I'm not.
From the day she disappeared, you lived there.
5-year-old Lori Hodge resided in the picturesque city of Phoenix, Arizona, with her parents, Dianne Keidel and Eugene Keidel. She had 3 siblings, 2 older sisters, Suzanne and Kelly, and an older brother, Gregory. Lori's parents led a complex life, often arguing and teetering on the brink of divorce. One day, Dianne filed for divorce and prepared to move out. Eugene, unhappy with this development, demanded the house, the car, and custody of the children. Dianne, however, did not agree. After their divorce, Eugene relocated to another home in Phoenix, while Dianne and the children stayed in their original house, forming a content family unit. Then, a significant incident occurred one day when the children were home with a babysitter. Eugene arrived unexpectedly and instructed the babysitter to leave. Dianne, who had started dating other men, was out on a date. Upon her return, an argument ensued between her and Eugene, escalating to physical violence. Eugene punched Dianne in the face, causing her to lose consciousness. Lori and Suzanne witnessed this but were too young to intervene. Suzanne then took her siblings to bed. Later that night, Lori awoke and began searching for her mother. She found no trace of her in the bedroom. Hearing noises from outside, as if someone was digging, she went to the balcony and saw her mother lying next to the pool and her father digging a hole with a shovel. At the tender age of 5, Lori innocently assumed that her mother was sleeping. She continued to watch until Suzanne came out and took her back to bed.
My sister came up behind me again, and she carefully, quietly, pulled my shoulder and had me step back into the house, and she ever so quietly closed the door.
The following day, Eugene filed a missing person report and moved back into the house. When the children woke up, they found Eugene lying on the couch. When they asked about their mother, he claimed that she had run away with another man. Lori knew he was lying and that her mother was buried in the backyard, but she never spoke of it. Even Suzanne, who was older, remained silent. As the days passed, their hopes of their mother's return faded, and they began to believe Eugene's story. One day, Lori went to see her mother and found a cement slab over the place where Dianne was buried. Lori often wondered how her mother would get out, as she believed that her mother was merely sleeping and would wake up when she was ready.
I became even more desperate. How was she going to get out when there was a slab of cement on top of her?
Then, in January 1997, a fire broke out in their house while Lori was sleeping. Suzanne rushed into their room and alerted them. She tried to lead them out of the house, but the intense fire trapped them in the hallway. When the rescue team arrived, the house was completely burned. They managed to get inside and found Suzanne lying over Lori, as if protecting her from the fire. They immediately took them out and rushed them to the hospital. Lori suffered third-degree burns, with 50% of her body burned. When Lori regained consciousness, she was told that her 2 older sisters had perished in the fire. Her brother Gregory had managed to break a window and jump out, running straight to the neighbor's house. Eugene told the police that he had left a pan of water boiling on the stove for his instant coffee while he went to do laundry. The police found his story odd but lacked evidence to take action against him. While Lori was in the hospital, Eugene visited her but showed no sympathy. He acted as if he didn't care. For months after the incident, Lori was still in the hospital. Despite the doctor's warnings that she had not fully recovered and that it would be risky to take her home, Eugene insisted on doing so. During those 4 months, Eugene had been busy rebuilding their house, transforming the living room into a bedroom and refurbishing the kitchen. When Lori was brought home, she asked her father about her brother Gregory and her mother. Eugene told her that Gregory was fine and was staying with their uncle. As for her mother, he stuck to his story that she had run off with another man. This question, however, made him anxious. He began to wonder if Lori knew what he had done to Dianne. Lori, too, was worried and decided she mustn't let him know that she was aware of everything. She once told her siblings that Dianne was sleeping in the backyard, but no one believed her. They resumed their old way of life, but Lori was haunted by a horrifying realization about her mother. When Eugene was around 60, he bought 2 independent gas stations. Lori often went there to play and met a young man named Michael who worked at the stations. He had a good bond with Lori, treating her like a younger sister. Although he liked his job, he was actively looking for other opportunities and eventually accepted a job in Vietnam. Tragically, he was killed in the Vietnamese War. Upon hearing this news, Eugene informed Lori that they would be attending Michael's memorial service. Lori, not understanding what a memorial service was, thought it was a party.
I was told that we were going to go to a memorial service and that it was Mike's memorial service. I didn't understand a memorial service. I thought it was a party.
When they arrived, Lori saw Michael's body in the coffin and immediately thought that he was also sleeping like her mother Dianne. When she asked a lady standing beside her why he was sleeping inside the coffin, the lady told her that he was not sleeping, he was dead and would never come back. This revelation made Lori realize that the same thing had happened to her mother. Terrified that she might meet the same fate if she revealed what she knew, Lori continued to pretend ignorance. One day, Eugene took Lori fishing and threw her off the boat, telling her to swim to shore. Despite her injuries and lack of swimming skills, Lori managed to reach the shore. Eugene was somewhat angry when he saw that she had survived. This was not a one-time event. He did this approximately 8 times.
He would say, "Oh, you made it back, huh?" As an adult, I understand now. I could have drowned. That would be easy to explain to the authorities.
As time passed, Lori began to notice that her father's desire to kill her was fading. Perhaps he was starting to believe that she was not a threat to him and that she didn't know what he had done to Dianne. She stayed with him until she turned 17, but when she turned 18, she decided to leave home and never return. Eugene always managed to find her, presumably to keep an eye on her. Years passed, and Lori tried to forget about her father and the secret. However, a strange incident in her life changed her perspective. By the time she was 31, she was living her own life, married, working multiple jobs, and even owned a horse. One day her horse gave birth. The foal was born but didn't start breathing. The mother horse pushed the baby, which led to it starting to breathe. This incident made Lori realize that her mother must have felt the same pain. She started to feel guilty about what she had been trying to do for the past few years and finally decided to reveal her father's heinous act to the police. In 1993, 27 years after her mother was reported missing, Lori finally came forward and wrote a letter to the Phoenix police. In the letter, she described everything she remembered, including the location, the gravel, and even the clothes her mother was wearing that night. The police immediately sprang into action. They used ground-penetrating radar to examine the backyard and found an anomaly right where Lori said it would be. After digging up the area, they located a skeleton with a nylon stocking wrapped around the neck. The anthropologist reported that the remains matched the description of Dianne Keidel. Eugene was immediately arrested and charged with the murder of Dianne.
You're under arrest for murder. Okay? The murder of Dianne Keidel. I dug up her body today in your backyard.
I had no idea, but I don't know anything about that.
On September 23, 1994, Eugene found himself standing trial for murder. The court found him guilty of first-degree murder and sentenced him to life imprisonment. In the following year, 1995, Lori filed a lawsuit against the city of Phoenix. She accused the city of negligence in their investigation of the fatal fire that claimed the lives of her sisters in 1967. The city chose to settle the case with Lori for $5.5 million. Prosecutors assured her that even if Eugene somehow managed to escape, he would immediately face charges for the murder of her 2 sisters. Throughout this time, Eugene staunchly maintained his innocence. He made several attempts to appeal his conviction, but all were unsuccessful. Eugene's life came to an end in prison on December 7, 2004. Finally, after 27 long years, Lori was able to lay her mother to rest.
It was unbelievable to think that I could have a funeral, that I could lay my mother to rest with her children. It's like a wave of so many different emotions. Joy and grief, pain, acceptance.
What are your thoughts on this case? Please share your views in the comments section below. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more videos like this one. If there's a specific case you'd like us to cover, please leave a comment.